Chris Collins and HenricK, the wreck bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal bro. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content, barricades, ripping through pixels, the ultimate game to get away. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news, industry they can't escape. We're reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jails. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quits. Rage quits. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're fucking gaming all the time. Rage quits. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back. Ain't nothing else to compare. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to season 11 finale of the Rage Quit video game talk show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Hey, we're back. It's time to rage, isn't it?
It's time to rage, but it's also really cool to think, like, holy cow, 11 seasons, over 100 plus episodes. Numbers continue to grow because without you, the gamers, this show would clearly not be possible. And I think we got a huge thanks to everybody that's always tuning in live on a regular basis. So thank you, gals, ladies, guys out there. Oh, man, we salute you. But while we're at this, we might as well go ahead and show our QR codes right now. For anybody that hasn't liked, shared, subscribed, or even hit the notification bell, that's the best way to get notified when we go live, as well as your boy HenricK the Wreck. You're always cooking up something fresh.
Yeah, you see that right there. So why not just scan it? You know where it goes. I don't even need to tell you.
I know what,
Because you
like,
should know.
yeah,
It goes
please
to my
don't-
YouTube channel, all right?
Please don't educate the users on what a QR code is by now, because then I would be really disappointed. Because if you don't know your button layout by now by playing your favorite video game, you are not going to be successful scanning that QR code. But HenricK, we always like to start off the show with a bang and show all the gamers around the world what the hell is going viral at this very moment in the week. So let's get it. A teacher really pulled up to class with the PlayStation 5 like it's a part of the curriculum and said, open your textbooks, and then boot it up. Assassin's Creed Syndicate instead. I mean, could you imagine showing up to a classroom, HenricK, and the first thing your substitute teacher is like, yeah, we're not bringing out the dry marker eraser. We're not doing that. No. Whip out this bad boy. Would you be locked in?
I know I'd be locked in, but also I can imagine I would be the person substituting to class and doing this, actually.
Oh, so you feel like this actually wouldn't help in the end because you'd be a little too distracted knowing that you've already played this game before. But then maybe, again, if you're a non-gamer, maybe you would get a little bit more immersed than some of those really dragged out documentaries we used to watch in high school, or let's say the little flimsy foil with the old school projectors. Oh, yeah, you Gen Zers don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. You don't even know what a VHS is anyways. But all of a sudden, they're not just, using, dusty paragraphs to learn about the Industrial Revolution, right, HenricK? They are now immersed into the smog, steel, and even the side eyes that the factory conditions in the real-time Victorian London would really, that would be a horrible place to work. And we got to be blessed to be living in the way that we are in the United States in 2026. But honestly, if history class had this kind of energy, half of us would have been, clearly mentally clocked out by page 2. But is this the future of education or just the coolest substitute teacher moment of all time? So let's go ahead and without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look.
O carbono, na verdade, é a energia que vai fazer as máquinas funcionarem através do vapor, tá? Eles vão queimar o carvão, vão gerar o vapor e vão fazer as máquinas funcionarem e vão produzir as coisas, beleza? Então o carvão é a fonte de energia, tá vendo? É a fonte de energia. Bora mais o que você vai observar aqui.
You're gonna learn today.
You gotta learn today. Yep, exactly. And that didn't stop comments from circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. The first one is point of view when a Gen Z becomes teachers. Yeah. But I clearly there's no captions below because I have no idea what the hell he's saying because he's in a different country that doesn't speak English. But the fact that my first reaction when I saw this video, HenricK, was maybe they don't have the resources to be bringing in books, text, you name it, multiple different computers or TVs on screen. So if they can utilize trying to bring a visual to the youth, if it works, it works, but clearly don't hand the sticks over to a student because then all of a sudden he's going to be pulling out that assassin's blade, and then you're going to get written up beyond the principal's office.
Yeah, for introducing violence to the classroom.
Yeah, right. And so, we got to be very, very careful with how we hand over the sticks, right? And how I'm posed the whole lesson. But again, I think the problem with this, though, is, HenricK, you really expect the teacher to hand over the sticks? I don't think so, for the reason I just said, right? And then last we have, bro, imagine if my history teacher did this instead of making us read 400 pages of dry text. Then again, oh, this is a fault. Sorry, I missed it. What's the most random game you think could actually teach real school subject properly? What do you think would be that game, HenricK, beyond Assassin's Creed Syndicate? I'm assuming Car Mechanic Simulator. That might be
simulator
one.
games probably fall under that. As
Yeah.
hey, we're just learning about this. Here is a chance to actually see it come together without actually having to go out and get the stuff to put it together.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always kind of surprised too that they don't have video games already set up for future drivers in America before they even get their permit. Maybe get in front of that, computer screen, a high-end, racing rig, and you'll get an idea how to properly hit your blinker while
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Right?
I've also got an idea, though. Say it's a literature class. You're learning about some sort of topic. Maybe you just read Do Electric Sheep, that book that inspired a bunch of cyberpunk stuff. You might see where I'm going here. Why not just show some visual media of like, these are games that have inspiration from this book? Hey, I'm just saying, that would interest some people to see how things got iterated upon.
And that's for you, the gamers, to decide what kind of video game would work perfectly in the history curriculum of, let's say, the United States. Let us know what's good. But let's keep things rolling, because long-haul drivers need a way to decompress. But when your office, your break room, and the bedroom all share the same steering wheel, relaxation, I would only imagine, feels like it's still on the clock. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
Yeah, because I mean, if you're in the cockpit driving something 24/7, you sit down to try and play something, it's going to feel like work again.
Yeah, and so clearly, as you can see with the image on screen, one truck driver ditched the idea entirely and installed a $6,000 racing rig in the passenger seat, turning downtime into lap time like his cab just unlocked a bonus mode, or what is it, a new game plus? But now it's not the gridlock, HenricK, that isn't frustrating. It's just, I don't know, the background noise while he's busy chasing faster laps than the cars around him. Wouldn't you say? And so, would you set this up in your rig? Do you think this is safe? I have a feeling he probably doesn't work for Swift. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Hey, you know what? When you're on the road that much driving a truck, you gotta make something worthwhile. And this, I imagine he finds this worthwhile.
Well, this is going to be a perfect segue into the comments, because the first comment reads, "He loves driving that much, huh?" Like,
I guess he does.
I thought the same thing. I go, that's a little weird. I mean, this guy must have been, somebody that had major aspirations in the NASCAR universe. And why? If that's your way of living life on the road, when you are constantly being monitored from someone in your ear about slow down, is it really the smartest idea to have a $6,000 racing rig in your truck? I don't even care if you're an independent contract truck driver. It's so insane. Like, you get arrested or get a ticket for having a blow-up doll in your passenger seat. Imagine you're a police officer, men and women in blue, and then you open up the truck when he's, I don't know, sliding on ice sheets when he was driving through Missouri or something, and then you see that $6,000 racing rig, and you're like, I'm supposed to feel bad for him? Was he distracted looking at those neon color lights, HenricK? Golly, that's crazy. But then he also get a comment like this that reads, "What if he gets too locked in and forgets to get back in the driver's seat?"
Oh.
What do you think about that, HenricK?
Well, at that point, you've put your job and your life at risk.
Yeah, it's a bit much, right? And then obviously the last comment reads, "I put a truck in my truck so I can drive while I drive." I think it would have been funnier if he jumped off.
Exhibit.
Yeah, or playing what was that old school game back in the day? It was always that like a Dave and Buster. It was like American Trucker. Imagine if he was playing a trucker game while he's stuck in traffic. That would have probably been even more hilarious. But gamers, I mean, not everything has to be gaming on the clock. Do the right thing, but clearly, I'm sure he's going to be investigated at one point. Well, let's keep it moving, because you hop online, and after a long day, you want to jump on and play some of your favorite multiplayer games, just looking for some peace, and instead you get absolutely dismantled before your brain even locks in. And I know a lot of people all of a sudden are jumping on the bandwagon of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Maybe it was because HenricK, it went on sale on Steam for $6. I guess that raised the player count enormously. It even beat out Black Ops Royale, something that I was a little bit more excited for. You weren't necessarily, but like, why is this hype all real all over again?
Well, I mean, Call of Duty Modern Warfare from 2019, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That game was good. It was actually a good Call of Duty. So when people see the value, I guess that's what happens.
And that's true. But as you're revisiting the good old days, here's the twist. You might encounter a player on the other end that isn't even using anything remotely standard to what should be a keyboard and mouse, or let's say, a hand-on stick. You might be seeing a setup that sounds more like it belongs on a stage than a desk. And so at that point, it's not just a loss. You probably are performing in a live performance for this guy, and you didn't even buy the tickets. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and take a look.
Funny, we got music on top of this clip, and for a second almost felt like he was
I know,
playing
it was
the
like right
music.
up to I know this is like a more of an older school clip, but could you imagine he comes back and then we're going to start seeing even more people. Oh, let's get this off screen. We don't need to keep promoting myself. What the hell, QR code? But yeah, it's just, could you imagine being on the other end? We've seen people play the flute, the saxophone looking thing, when then people were doing the Silk song. And then, yeah, I would be pretty embarrassed if I got hit with clearly what this comment is stating. Getting hit with an actual is a new level of disrespect. And to be clipped and then farmed out throughout all the social fronts, I think you would have to retire your gamer tag if you got exposed like this. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
Depends on how much of a fight you put up, I guess.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Unless, if you're ecstatic about that kind of a thing, yeah, maybe. But then bro got killed on Call of Duty with the drumstick. Meanwhile, I'm dying with the regular controller and 2 monitors. At some point, it's just a skill issue. Yeah, and sometimes none of those kill perks are going to be able to do anything to kind of help you suffice through the battlefield. And then last, most unemployed shit I've seen on here. Impressive. So haters are going to hate. But man, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And this is the season 11 finale. And the best thing that you guys can do to always support us moving forward is hitting the notification bell and hitting the like, share, and subscribe button, because that will always notify you guys when we're live on air.
Yep, and you see how that QR code changed? It changed to the QR code for my YouTube channel. So go ahead and scan that one. Stay tuned, because there's always going to be more stuff on the way there, all right?
Yeah, we're only getting started. This is a jam-packed show. And so, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, Chris, are you ready to skydive right into this next game? Because we are talking about Crimson Desert, one of the biggest games of the year.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Crimson Desert. This is the latest mega open world game vying for your attention. Originally planned as a prequel to Black Desert Online, developers Pearl Abyss pivoted the game to be a standalone title. In this game, you'll follow Cliff and his fellow Greymanes as they battle to tip the balance against the Black Bears, their rivals. However, due to the scale of the world, this game definitely lets the players put the story on the back burner. So now the question still stands: pause or repeat?
All right. As I alluded to, this game is one of the biggest games of the year. And I don't mean that necessarily just in the hype of it, but also the scale of it. Would you not agree, Chris?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just the fact that even players are already showcasing online that, yeah, I mean, you eventually can't fall off the map anytime soon. You might be swallowed by a humpback whale, but you're absolutely right. I mean, clearly Crimson Desert is one of those, like, we're not here to participate. We're here to overachieve. They want to make their stance in the RPG realm. And I would say they're really trying to pull from the DNA of the Elder Scrolls, the Witcher franchise, and what makes the Grand Theft Auto series so good. But then again, HenricK, you have to ask yourself, gamers, I mean, does this hold up as the Mount Rushmore in the genre?
Well, that's where we can then talk about the combat and the gameplay in general, where, there's going to be a lot of traversal they'll have to do, because the map is massive and there's plenty of stuff to do at every little corner of it. So you will pretty much always have something to do. You just have to choose what you want to do, and that's whether you do a quest line, you grab some materials, or just fight people.
Or
And if you
clearly
choose
go
the
off on a
fighting
different track
side-
where, to discover the unknown, right?
Yeah, yeah, because you can do that. There's gonna be stuff people
It
find
invites
in this
it.
game. Like I feel honestly like 5-10 years from now, people are still gonna be finding out new things about this game that they maybe didn't know when they played it
Or
through
what
the
they
first
forgot
time.
to take out as AI generated assets too, but that's
Oh.
for another story.
Yep. But if you choose to do the combat, that honestly, I feel the combat is where they decided to use the most polish, and it shows because you have so many options in just the combat system in general. You can go in, doing wrestling moves. You can do martial arts. You can also just go in with a sword and a shield, or a two-handed sword, or
Yeah.
the choices are seemingly endless, and they're also modified by your skill tree. So there's plenty of just expression in the gameplay through the combat as itself.
And let's hit the nail on the coffin with this too, because a lot of people online, you're going to clearly see around Crimson Desert, is everybody's complaining about this whole button layout. They feel like it's a bit too elaborate, and I don't know if I quite feel that way. When did everybody start to realize that not every game is going to be suited for everybody in the beginning? There's obviously going to have to be a learning curve. We never complain when Mortal Kombat does this with their franchise when they drop a new entry in. Every single kind of button mash combination is never feasible to do in the beginning. Did that really strike you as being something that's going to turn players away from even wanting to join along with the Greymanes and play as Cliff and a few other playable characters as you get deeper into the game? Was that a turnoff to you? Because I clearly didn't feel that way. I mean, if you're an RPG fan, you're going to love it either way or not, but I feel like the thing that hurts it is not the combat. I think the combat is excellent. I think that's what you're alluding to, HenricK, right?
Yes.
I think it's more of all the nonsense trinkets that are going on where they feel like everything let's put it this way. Did everybody start doing an arm wrestle match within the first hour of the game and then never revisit it again? Those are the kind of things where they try to make the world bigger than what it is. And it doesn't necessarily need to be that way, because I feel like the story should have been the centered focus. And when the game just kind of drops you with that camera that's kind of panning down, and then you get set up by the black bears, they ambush you, you get falling off a cliff. I was like, what in the Skyrim intro is going on? And then it kind of just jumps in a sense, and then you're up in the abyss. Didn't you have a hard time wanting to fall in love with this story? I think that, if for a massive game like this, that's a huge problem. That's big time problem.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. When it comes to the controls, yeah, it didn't really bother me like it bothered a lot of people I was seeing online. Because yeah, like you said, there's a learning curve to it, and it's not like every game is going to be the same layout as like a Skyrim type game or an Elden Ring type
Would
game.
you want every game to be like a button mash,
to.
like a God of War and an S?
Right.
Nobody wants that. Do you want another Kingdom
At the
Come
same
Deliverance
time-
too? You got to branch out.
Right, but at the same time, I do see some of the criticism when it comes to the control scheme, and that is also something they see, which is why they're trying to adjust things. They even said they're going to come out with some patches to adjust the controls, make it a little bit easier for people. Because there's some context moments where it's like, all right, this button I need to press here is also going to use this other thing that I have, and it's just conflicting with what I want to actually happen. And things like that can be tweaked, but just learning is a thing that you have to do to actually play the game, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, 100%. The story is something they did not focus on.
But that's the whole point about style of RPG games. They're not here to hold your hand. It's going to be a mix of exploration.
Yeah.
They are trying to set up this whole faction drama, which I really didn't feel like it worked out. Yeah, you're trying to uncover, the bigger threat that's hanging over the world like it's a bad omen. But HenricK, I mean, the world is massive, right? You referenced it. You're going to be climbing, gliding, riding horses. The dragons are badass. Sometimes you fall on it. Sometimes you can't quite get on the mount. but I'm sure those are the kind of things I think you're talking about that they might fix. I did have an issue where I got soft blocked in a sense where I had to restart the whole thing over. At least it wasn't like the game Skate Story where you had to start all over again, where you couldn't progress any further. That's really infuriating. But when you see when a game throws this much at you, are you excited or immediately kind of overwhelmed with where to begin? Because we had comments at the beginning of the show where they were making fun of the drummer setup for Call of Duty, and he was like, that's some unemployed shit. When people start doing stuff like this in their games where there's all these trinkets, what are we doing? Is that what gamers really want in the end? Like, do they really anticipate us to be playing this game for 2 years out? I don't know.
And that is the thing, yeah. Like, if you really want to experience this game to its fullest, you have to be putting in probably close to, if not more than 300 hours.
Yeah.
And that is a commitment. You know, like that is when a lot of people see a game this big and then they see the number of like, oh, you're looking at 300 hours of gameplay. Cool. You know, I got tons of stuff I can do. But then it's like you were saying, what's the quality of some of this stuff? Like, like, is it going to be things like you said with the arm wrestling where you do it once and then you never touched again? Like, that doesn't really feel like it could have. It feels like it could have been left to not be put in the game at that point. You know?
That's what I'm thinking.
Instead, focus on putting the effort towards things like you were saying, like developing a better storyline, which I'm gonna be real.
Because the world around it is freaking gorgeous. I mean, like, when you have a world that is this beautifully designed and then the story doesn't quite hit, that is a real hinder to the overall gameplay experience.
With the RPG genre, so many of the RPGs that people really love, like Witcher series.
Yeah.
We'll even throw in, Cyberpunk and other
absolutely. Well, yeah, you
stuff.
can name Red Dead Redemption 2, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, looking at Red Dead Redemption, Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls games, all those games have storylines, whether they be side stories or main stories. People look back and they're like, yeah, those I remember those storylines and I really enjoyed them. I didn't feel that with any of the content in this game that I came across.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, when
granted,
you go to... Yeah.
I didn't finish the game yet because it's so massive, but like I just don't have any.
But there's certain landmarks in games and RPGs where you remember those landmarks because of the story developed in that point of interest. You know what I mean, HenricK? And so, like, you got these awesome, like, rolling green plains. You got the dense forest, the desert, the mountains, everything that you want in an RPG that feels very handcrafted by these game developers, even though they got caught, using AI and didn't disclose it and then later did it. And then, that's a whole other story, right? But they set up, like, a really cool premise with the abyss above. I really like the whole idea that it's given this kind of, like, Game of Thrones style, riding around in your dragons. I mean, that was, I don't know about you, but when the first trailers came out, that was like, wow, that's what drew me on in. But then as the more you get into this whole kind of a thing and you're kind of scattered out throughout the continent, obviously trying to figure out the tensions and the alliances and all those shady factions that you are going to be exploring. Whether that's a good thing for the game, I don't know. The thing with me is it's like the game, you said it actually best, HenricK, before we even jumped on, even when we're doing our pre-production talk, when it came to like, hey, what was your overall thoughts with this game? And we're like, damn, this game really wants to talk about it. And do you want to further clarify what you meant by that, HenricK?
Well, the game is one of those games where you look at it, it looks so amazing, and people really hyped it up. Then you play it and you're just like, it's not all that is cracked up to be, honestly, but it's still fun.
But you know what's also, let me remind you of what you told me. What you told me was you were like, oh my God, Chris, there are long stretches in this game where there are these dialogue sequences I want to get the hell out of. That's what you told me, and I was laughing. And you are such a proponent.
you'll have moments like, because there are boss fights in this game.
Yes.
You'll have moments where you keep dying to them, and there's
over and over again. By the way, you're
before the boss that you cannot skip.
Yeah,
so it's
and
like,
that's annoying. That
you have to
tests your
watch
loyalty,
the cutscene
right?
every time.
It's testing your loyalty rather than building on a narrative, and that is extremely frustrating. And yeah, you're gonna get those incredible cinematic moments. Like there are some really cool, big, climatic, battles and those slick sword fights that you're gonna see. But then there's other times, right, HenricK, where you're just like, oh my gosh, dude, like this is going on and on and on and on. And so let me ask you, HenricK, I mean, do great cutscenes make up for the slow storytelling, or like once the pace is off, it's just hard to recover?
I mean, I already said it. I'm not sure if you exactly caught it, but yeah, the storyline, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
To be really honest, like I really didn't. It just, the characters were pretty forgettable. Even the main characters, not really written that well, honestly. And
it's horrible. It's horrible, actually.
It's really to the point where
it's really bad.
50 hours in, I'm already like, yeah, there's no way that they're going to redeem anything in terms of the story on this game. Like, you just play the game to enjoy the combat and the experience
and the world around it.
About it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, here's the reality, gamers around Crimson Desert. This game swings big. It's got a lot of the swings that truly do connect. But the world, yeah, we understand. It's stunning. The combat has depth, and there's a real sense of scale and ambition here, but it also stumbles. I think we can, both you and I were both admitting that here, and the storytelling drags, the difficulty can feel punishing. Some gamers might love that. A lot of us are going to hate it. And when the game leaves you confused on how to progress, that is the sense of adventure that can turn the frustration up real quickly. And yeah, I might have had fun with it. I really did, but this isn't something that I'd be cracking in my top tier RPG list anytime soon, HenricK. So I'm going to go out there and just say it's a game. It's a pause. It's a game I respect, but more than one I'm obsessed with. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, it's a game I respect, but it's not something I'm going to be staying for and not returning anytime soon. Let's just put it that way. But I'm curious on how you're vibing with this. Is this a pause to play something new or a repeat for endless fun?
Well, I'm going to finish out the game. As much as I have problems with it, like we've suggested, I will pretty much, at this point, I'm going to play the game as much as my mental capacity will allow me to. And then when I get to that point where it's just the fatigue is too much, I'm going to just finish off the storyline and be like, I'm done. I'm not coming back.
I know. You're like,
whether that means that it's at 150 hours
game.
or less, or maybe more. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not going to be something that I'm going to be itching to play all over
Well, maybe that's what
again,
they suckered you in with that game design. You were that invested in that you're like, I might as well just complete it all the way until the end. And so that's where we're going to throw it at you, the gamers. Is Crimson Desert a pause to play something new or a repeat for endless fun? Let us know what's good. But we got a whole lot left to discuss live on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, yeah, Chris. Go and hit it, because we got plenty.
Hit it, cut! What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Epic Games just hit the restructure button like it's rage quitting its own balance sheet, cutting over 1,000 jobs while somehow charging more for V-Bucks, which feels like your landlord raising rent after removing the roof. Like, what the hell? What do you mean you're going to start switching things up? But Tim Sweeney says they're spending more than they can make, which sounds less like a business plan and more like the couch or your cousin explaining his sneaker collection. Oh, why did I say couch? That's not what I meant to say. But you guys all meant what I... But anyways, meanwhile, Fortnite is quietly putting game modes on a retirement tour, as you can see on screen, Rocket Racing, Ballistic, and Festival Battle Stage, which I thought they were doing pretty successful runs with this. Clearly when you buy a car on Rocket Racing, it goes to Rocket League, but how long is that going to last? We're soon going to find out. But it's proven once again that in a live service gaming, your favorite feature is always one update away from disappearing like your squad after one bad match. And if engagement is truly dropping like Epic Games is saying, Is it burnout, or are companies overestimating how long players will stick around? And so let's go ahead and dive right on into the comments, because the first one reads, guess who got laid off today? I am genuinely so confused and bewildered, like I spent the past week debugging the rivalry system while recovering from the Noma. I butchered that. But
Pneumonia.
Yeah.
I got
Golly
you.
today. Gosh, I feel like I'm like Dr. Seuss, like reading a Cat in the Hat book. One fish, two fish, blue fish, red fish. I probably butchered that too. But y'all get the point, gamers. But just in the past few days, I've had multiple directors tell me how much they appreciate everything I do. And HenricK, did you know that Tim Sweeney has a net worth of over $5.1 billion? And that's with the B gamers, okay? So he can literally give 1,000 laid off employees $100,000 each and still have $5 billion left over.
Yeah, it's really crazy how situations like this happen. And then you look at people in big positions like Tim Sweeney, and it's like, you didn't think at all of maybe cutting your salary to maybe keep some people on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did you not, like, okay, as much as Nintendo will get shit from me, something that they do right is in situations in the past where they've done really bad, like with the Wii U, would complete commercial failure. They said, you know what? We understand we messed up. We're going to take pay cuts. The leadership is saying this so that we don't have to fire too many people and we can work on the next thing to do better next time. Why don't we do that with this situation, Tim Sweeney?
Because it's pure greed in the industry. It's no different than when we were covering the Crafton story and then bringing back the creators that are making Subnautica 2. And it's like, yeah, that seems like a win for the creators of the game that created that iconic franchise. But then you see the top 3 guys are going to be making 90% of the $250 million bonus, while the rest of the staff is going to get $25 million. Does that sound fair? How is this possibly happening? Did anybody see this when a game that released in 2017 wouldn't even last a decade with this many IP in the store tab? You're telling me that you're broke and then you just introduced Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the new season? Maybe stop going after these AAA Hollywood actors to front your games. Just a thought. But then you also get Stable Ronaldo. He's a very popular streamer, and he said Epic Games and Fortnite are going to completely die off when Grand Theft Auto 6 drops. You can say I'm a hater, but every day they're striving into a shittier direction and losing the core of the community, what made Fortnite special to begin with. Stop trying to be a new Roblox. It's sad. And I think he kind of has a point. It's like, why is that when Roblox creates, for example, HenricK, Steal the Brain Rot, they feel like they got to go and find some indie creator out there to kind of mimic that and put that in their game? Do you sometimes feel when you get these, sandbox interactives, like get kind of too convoluted, where the things that they really want to shine aren't really being showcased?
No, 100%. It's striving to be this mecca of gamers who just want to come together and maybe just socialize with some sort of sandbox game to do in the meantime. That's really what Roblox has become, is just people go to Roblox because you can play all these different kinds of games within the game. And Fortnite's trying to copy that because they see the success of that formula. But something like that in Roblox situation came about because, well, not only were they one of the most easy and accessible options out there, but it naturally happened. Things like that you can't always force to happen.
Tim Sweeney should really take a page out of the playbook from Mark Zuckerberg and his company Meta, and maybe consider ditching the idea of trying to create a metaverse in a social interactive environment, right? Like they were trying to push that with the whole Disney park adventure. Hey, you get to walk around and you get to see some of your favorite theme parks, so you never had enough money to go to France, to go to see Ratatouille Land and stuff like that. Do gamers in the Fortnite universe really give a shit about that? Remember when are they going to try to be like the what was it, Roblox again, try to have an IKEA store? Is that really where the future of Fortnite needs to go? It's like, if you just focus on a certain amount of game modes that we all like to go to, make the game good, rotate the map maybe for once. Don't get locked in these like 2 to 3 month periods. Maybe, just maybe you can convince people to want to stick around for the long haul. But then you also get clicks right here. Look at this. This is kind of funny. I got to save this game. Give me a little time to figure it out. And why I find this really funny, HenricK, is even the streamers are feeling the impact from this. They're like, holy cow, we're going to lose the youth. We're going to lose all that little money. We're going to lose all that little dinero, all those little Twitch donates and everything. Like, how am I going to make some money? I think people are legitimately starting to think what Stable Ronaldo just said. Like, holy cow, do I have to like re-gear, reprogram my thought process on like what I'm going to be streaming moving forward? I mean, there are jokes about even Arc Raiders, for example. Wow, the game's been out for 5 months. That's been moving really, really slow. If you can't update in real time with player demand, then we're going to move on to something new. And when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes around with their, like, again, are going to be convoluted with all kinds of different mini games inside of it, I think, you know, it's going to be hard to try to pull people from one world to another.
Too, if there's any company out there that can actually update a game with the demand of players as it comes, it would be Epic, because they're the ones that have a huge player base. They have definitely people who can put together things, but well, you know, sorry, maybe now they don't. Now that they've left 1,000 people out in the cold.
Yeah,
but
they got to pay the bills.
At least that's what I felt always. Is like if any developer could do it, it would be them.
Yeah.
Do that.
It just doesn't feel real to think that like Epic Games is going through this, and I think it's also important to even remind the listeners too that they pulled this similar move back in 2023. They laid off over 900 workers and also expressed that, you know, Fortnite's popularity was slowing down. So it's like, who do we really believe? After like every 3 years, are we going to see the same text to speech when it comes to this? Like, why we have to keep moving forward? But then you also get a tweet that reads, I didn't fire 1,000 people. I flooded the market with the once-in-a-lifetime talent, which is truly brilliant word salad, absolute LinkedIn brain rot, which is making fun of Tim Sweeney because, you know, he had to say, hey, listen, look, like it wasn't the AI that's going to be replacing these people. I'm actually gifting the industry amazing talent, you know, to further acquire assets that made our game so special, which is also being hurt in the end. And, you know, you start to wonder too, HenricK, it's like, are layoffs becoming the industry's version of a patch fix for bad management decisions? And remember even last year too, we were talking about how GDC did a survey and over a third of developers have been laid off. And so when you see another 1,000 go out, like, wow.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely some part of it where, yeah, over time, player demand to play a game does dwindle because, you know, you could look at most games, live service games specifically, and you could see the sentiment of people thinking of a game and like it being in the zeitgeist of their mind kind of going away. But at the same time, that is also a failure on the developers' side because, or maybe not the developers, but like at least the management of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say leadership.
That is up to you to make sure that it stays in the gamers' minds, and the way you do that is keep releasing more and more interesting things to do in the game. Maybe if it even means, you know, hey, we know we're known for Battle Royale. Let's switch things up just a bit. Like you were saying with, you know, maybe a new map change, you know, things like that.
Right.
That makes it so when you go into the match, it's a little different.
Well, okay, we can mention like the game modes and stuff like that, right? You know, like Lego Fortnite trying to cater to the youth and stuff like that. But again, you know, Tim Sweeney was on this antitrust crusade with Apple and Google, and you start to wonder, like, was it actually a good move to try to bring on this battle against these app stores? Because, you know, removing Fortnite from the smartphone for years, I think, has clearly made a major impact on players even wanting to keep returning to the game. I mean, because you got to think like outside the box gamers. Like, yeah, you know, here in the States, we might have amazing Wi-Fi, Ethernet cables that run our video games, but some parts in the world, they don't have that. And the only accessibility to video games is through their mobile device. And so when you haven't been available for all this time, and then people want to return, and then you start making all these V-Bucks increases, and then you're eliminating some of the awesome bonus perks that used to come with the battle pass. It just doesn't really get you that excited anymore. It really doesn't. And so all it takes is one battle pass to be like, Bugs Bunny doesn't do it for me. I could care less, and so I'm not going to pay moving forward. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of mismanagement that's been happening with Fortnite and Epic Games, and clearly something needs to change. Something needs to happen. And do you really find this to be the end of all things when it comes to Fortnite anytime soon? That's where we're just going to leave it open-ended. Let us know what's good, gamers. But let's keep things rolling, because HenricK, what video game is making a splash in the real world? Break it down.
Well, Minecraft is officially breaking the blocks, leaving the screen, and coming to the real world. And what does that mean? Well, with a $70 million, mind you, build landing at Chessington World of Adventures, like someone took their save file and said, hey, that looks really cool. Let's make that in real life.
I just realized too, HenricK, just to give you a heads up, we don't have the image for the theme park. We totally screwed up on that. So we're going to have to dive right under the comments for it. So
use your imagination.
Exactly. Yeah. Imagination. Yeah, we screwed up on our end. We had a little bit of a moment. I didn't want to start showing images from last week's show. But yeah, you're clearly seeing online where people are kind of salty about this, right, HenricK? I mean, it's clearly showing up in London. Why London, bro? I'm all the way over here in California, bro. And so it is, a $70 million project that's landing in a place called Chessington World of Adventures. And that's where they got, safaris and another little different roller coaster space. And so is that going to be successful? I mean, is this really what Gen Alpha wants? I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I was growing up and I heard about Legoland, for example, I go, that kind of sounds exciting. And it didn't really captivate me as I became an adult. Well, right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like when I was like, I don't know, 12, and you go there one time, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. But it doesn't hold up, let's say a Knott's Berry Farm in the SoCal space, And so that's the thing that Merlin Entertainments that has taken on the Minecraft theme park challenge is going to have to tackle head on.
Yeah, this 100%, it feels more like it would be something as an add-on, a little section of another theme park.
Yeah,
maybe if they partnered with Disneyland or I don't know, Universal, maybe.
It could.
I don't think it really fit at Knott's necessarily, but just out there.
Well, it's definitely they're trying to create this entertainment mecca in a sense, and it kind of reminds me even during my time when I was in Tokyo, Japan, where we only went to Disneyland Tokyo, but all in the same vicinity. There's the Tokyo Universal Studios, right next to each other. Yeah. That wouldn't seem like a real thing in the States. You'd be like, really? You're a little too close. Should be on somewhere else. And so, and I mean, again, the people that are tackling the Minecraft theme park are the same minds or masterminds behind Legoland. So if there's anybody that you could put your full trust in, it's probably going to be them. But then you also get comments that read like this, HenricK, which is anything but the end updates. So some people feel like really? We're focused on spawning in the real world when can you just focus on making the next great update in the Minecraft universe? And then another comment that reads, did Mumbo design all the circuits and contraptions? And that's kind of funny. But again, they did announce, HenricK, during the Minecraft live event that Merlin Entertainments was working with a select group of iconic Minecraft creators. They haven't really disclosed what that really means, but they did say that they were consulting on a lot of the buildings, ranging from very interactive adventures. I'm assuming block-built playscapes for young kids to climb on, not too high, but not too low where it's lame. And then you're gonna get themed in retail dining, sure, right? You gotta sell.
Yeah, I will give them credit for that. That does sound a bit promising, to at least take some of the creators and be like, what do you think people would be interested to see here? Because it's going to be a different perspective than what any investors or designers who are just coming into this are going to think.
I mean, especially when you
think people who are in the thick of it.
Right. And, we didn't really explain too well who Mumbo is. Well, he is a prominent British Minecraft YouTuber, okay? So clearly the folks in London are like, holy cow, there's like one person that maybe you should stay away from. No, it's all jokes, guys. He's just joking. He makes amazing Minecraft builds. And then you get this last comment that reads, are the roller coasters going to be faster than the mine carts? Probably not. And so, yeah, I mean, when you start thinking about video games entering the space of theme parks, wow, this is a first of its kind. Really, truly. Like, you don't think of Legoland as a video game. You don't think of Disneyland. You think of that. It's like the home of cinema. Great animation.
Well, there was the Super Mario World and the little section in Universal.
Okay, fine. But it went to Universal Studios. You know what I mean? Like, they're dedicating its own space. Like, no, this is Minecraft. And so I think that's where we should have some fun with this, HenricK, right? Like, if you had the opportunity to be, a theme park, put the top hat on, the hard hat, excuse me, and you had the time to have some fun, bulldoze, reconstruct your favorite video game into a real world park. Have you thought about it? What would you like to see? What do you think would work?
It's actually kind of funny considering how my relationship with Blizzard games are now at this point. But when Overwatch came out with the Blizzard World map, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you should do that. That sounds like it'd be really cool. Just a bunch of Blizzard IPs and one big theme park. Yeah, Activision Blizzard, why have you not done that yet?
Yeah, I guess I could. I think my only thing would be like the World of Warcraft. Would that really be inviteful for like parents that want to bring their kids that are 13 and younger into the park? I don't quite know. Maybe we should just stick to Roller Coaster Tycoon and never finish the roller coaster, and everybody just flies off after we just took your money and acquired it. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is a really, really, really tough question when you think about it. It's like, what space would this really work out? I feel like the cop-out answer would be like you were like kind of alluding to with like the Super Mario kind of a thing. It's like you just pick one major brand, like whether it's Sony, and then you go, hey, you want to immerse yourself in the world of all the Sony first-party exclusives and go, hey, you want to go to the Last of Us section? You want to go to the God of War section? Hey, do you want to go to Jack and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot ride? Like Spyro the Dragon. I think those would be the kind of things that get you really, really excited for. I don't know. What would be that one IP that could really kind of hold its head? This
it is a
really
good question.
tough question. I really don't know. But then let's throw it to the gamers. Are we heading towards a future where your favorite games double as travel destinations in the future? Let us know what's good. But man, let's keep it moving because Savvy Games is moving like it's assembling. Oh, let's get this lower third off the screen. Get that bad boy off. Savvy Games is moving like it's assembling an all-star roster, dropping $6 billion to grab Moonton from ByteDance.
Moonton, yeah.
Barely blinking, right, HenricK? And so that number is knocking on the door of Microsoft picking up Bethesda, which tells you these deals, they aren't bold anymore. They're becoming routine. And at this point, the gaming industry isn't leveling up. It's getting consolidated like a playlist where one owner controls every track. And so, gamers, is this about growing esports or owning the future of it? And I got to say, HenricK, I was quite surprised not more outlets were discussing this, not more gamers were expressing this massive move. And I guess that could really lean into the conversation about mobile, which this kind of comment is alluding to. Mobile is such a confusing wasteland that it's jarring that something like this sold for almost the same amount that all of Bethesda did to Microsoft. So what really is going on? Because Savvy Games got formed in 2021, and within 5 years they are making some blockbuster moves. They're also the ones that own Scopely, the masterminds behind the monopoly on the phone. And so you start to wonder, like, is that the way microtransactions are going more, instead of like in the PC and the console front? Or is it about like what they have to offer? Like ByteDance had the League of Legends mobile app, right? So if they are trying to be
well,
like
it
the face
really
of...
it makes you wonder like how much money are the games that Moonton actually has making then for it to be valued that much by Savvy Games to spend that much money to buy them? I mean, you're looking at games like Mobile Legends. That's probably their biggest one that you
Oh
probably have
yeah,
seen at
easily.
some point an ad for on your phone. And that's once again, these are mobile games.
10-year-old game, by the way, too. And so
Yeah.
when you think of League of Legends, too, it is very high up there when it's in the esports realm. And clearly they are trying to create that World Cup aspect in the video game space. And so acquiring a lot of this kind of major IP, especially from ByteDance, who are the rulers of TikTok, yeah, it's pretty massive. And then you also get comments that read, I'm actually shocked that there isn't more Saudi money in mobile gaming, with the follow-up comment that reads, it is, just much more indirectly that it doesn't make headlines like this usually. They're invested into Tencent by way of being the largest single stakeholder in VSPO, which is like the those VTubers. I didn't even know what VSPO was. I had to look it up. I was like, whoa, I didn't know they were a part of that. They also acquired Scopely a while back, so they own, through Savvy Games, some of the highest revenue games in the global app store. Monopoly Go, Pokemon Go. Saudi's public investment fund is also invested in Bandai, EA, Capcom, which Capcom was just recently 10%, and Nintendo as a broad investment into gaming. So when you see that in the Middle East, there's a lot of moves being made and acquiring so much video game IP. Is this good for the industry, HenricK?
Well, a lot of people would say no because they'd like to see that games not be led by investors leading the charge via saying, hey, you got to make us money.
Well, let's forget about the money or their stance in the cultural world. Let's just put it that way.
Well, there's that too.
You know, I mean,
that too.
And it is wild too. I mean, remember when we looked up that, you know, over 67% of the population of Saudi Arabia are gamers. They are 35 and younger. They are massive. And so they're really trying to captivate that audience. And when the crown jewel of Saudi Arabia is a massive gamer himself, I feel like he is noticing the weight and the impact of what video games brings to the rest of the world. Because again, you know, video games has larger numbers than movies, television, film, theater, music combined. And so when you have one country really kind of chasing to capture it all, wow. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And also they've been accused of sports washing. It's no different than like with the whole LIV golf world in a sense. And so you get jokester comments like this, Hala Silver and Blood, with a follow-up comment that reads, gotta keep it Hala Habibi. And then last, geez, what will happen now? This is a good thing or a bad thing? And I guess that's really for us to decide, HenricK. I mean, what is your initial stance when you start hearing that, you know, esports will eventually orbit around Saudi investment the same way Hollywood dominates film? Is that a good progression for the industry, for the video game space? I really don't think so, because it's seeming like a lot of their moves right now, and especially a lot of the parts of the Middle East, they are all centered around AI. And yeah, they're trying to say that they're trying to build these big office spaces to try to hire more people to come to their country. I don't know how many people would want to at this moment, but again, they're trying to fix their image around the world, but it just feels like strange times.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to the esports portion of it is specifically, this just says to me that there's going to be a bigger push for games to have an esports scene that is successful. But here's the thing about esports, guys, and it feels like we still have we still not learned about what happened with the Overwatch League? Guys, what happened there was Blizzard was like, we got to make esports Overwatch a thing. And it's like, all right, sure, the game is fun, but is it fun to watch? Not so much unless you really know the game. And that's the thing. If it's not fun to watch, people are not going to watch it. And also, esports just come up naturally.
But it's
Actually, that's the thing.
it's so
You can't
young,
force
right?
it.
It's so young right now, though, HenricK. And also, too, remember we were covering how the Olympics were trying to explore how to bring more video games into their world, right? But the problem with the Olympics is they can't be just showcasing Apex Legends or Call of Duty or Battlefield. They can't show that
Well, they
kind of
also
style
said they
of
didn't want
violence.
to because they didn't want to show violence like that.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. So when you start to acquire a lot of this kind of iconic IP, you don't have to get approval from these studios to be like, hey, can we showcase your game on the grand stage and then give an award for using your game to create this competitive space? No, everything goes through us moving forward. And I think it's also important to highlight to the gamers, too, because I have this noted on my end. Its current crown jewel, HenricK, is $55 billion leveraged buyout to acquire Electric Arts that is set to wrap up this summer. So if they take on Electronic Arts, they're going to be taking on Madden. They're going to be taking on the soccer. It wouldn't surprise you, obviously the basketball. They'll dive back into that again. I'm sure about it. And so if they can accumulate real-world sports and then bring that into the esports environment, it just gets you thinking. It gets you thinking. So, but let's leave it on this, though. 5 years from now, will the biggest tournaments in studios all trace back to Saudi funding? And could Saudi-backed investments shift where the biggest games are made and who makes them? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, this is the Season 11 finale of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we wouldn't be doing this Reddit thing if it wasn't our show, right? I mean, it always has to end like this. So let's get it going. Break it down.
Gamers have been roaming the digital streets of Reddit, like they always do, right?
Oh, always, right?
Except this time. This time in particular, it's like GameStop in 2009, where you'd go in, you dig through the not garbage, sorry. I meant to say
well, there is a lot of garbage in GameStop.
But there is a lot of garbage in there.
But yeah, you're digging through the bins.
Somehow, back in 2009, you'd go into that bin and somehow you'd pull out a AAA experience, maybe. And for what price? Well, sometimes not very much at all. $3, $4, $5. But we're talking about games this time in particular that are not $5. They're free 99. Not $3, free 99.
Free 99? I haven't even heard of that terminology. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about the full course games with a checkout screen where you go to it and it just says, what are you even here for? Just
You're right.
move along. Come on. So it's pure generosity from these developers, or there's something more sinister because maybe they have their sights on your wallet, if anything.
Yeah.
Usually
enough.
what it is, they want microtransactions.
Well, right.
to
You
be the
get
thing
so
that makes them
distracted
money.
playing a free-to-play game that you never circle back to your wallet, and then you never realize there was a store tab, right, HenricK? I think that's what this person
and it always
in the Reddit
works.
thread's trying to convey.
The game could be broken, but the store page is going to work because that's what needs to work, if anything.
So I guess what you're alluding to is it's like, what kind of game would you play that you were glad that you never spent money, but you have no problem jumping into? Is that what you're alluding to?
Yeah. What is that game, Chris?
Because when you read this at first, you get so confused. What free video game you are surprised didn't cost money? And you're thinking like, wait, every game costs money. What are you talking about? Games are not made for free. They're like, no, it's free-to-play games, like he says on that subheader. Like the game is so good, you are shocked that it is free. And so let's go ahead and dive into the comments. First one is Path of Exile and Warframe with the follow-up comment that reads, second for Warframe, been playing for 8 years now and haven't spent a penny. Multiple primed frames and weapons. So I don't play any of these games. I remember when Warframe was getting I think, weren't they the one? No, I'm thinking of another game. There was one game that had like Slipknot involved, and I was like, oh wow. Oh, Spite, I think it was Spite, right? Is that the game? Someone correct me in the chat. But I feel like those are the way free-to-play games kind of dwindle you in. Would try to get you to pay money, but clearly Path of Exile and Warframe must be winning people over because the gameplay is that good. Is this something that you jump on every once in a while, HenricK, or you're just like, nah, this whole 8-year thing, nah, that's not me?
So the thing about Warframe is it's never really grabbed me because I was kind of late to the party. So
Yeah,
if
it's like a
I
Destiny
jump into
2 thing.
Warframe, there's so much you got to catch up on. And like, yeah, great. There's tons for me to do. But also it's like, man, I got to learn so much just to catch up. And then I got to catch up on top of that.
Yeah, no thanks.
Ah.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Path
But
of
then you
Exile,
also,
though, that could be fun to jump in every now and then. It's just that skill tree is massive and it makes you
Convoluted.
feel overwhelmed.
or what about the free mobile version of Vampire Survivors? It's just the full game, and you don't even need to watch ads to play. I also bought the Steam version with all the DLC just to support the developers. So yeah, Vampire Survivors. That's a game that I don't really necessarily think as mobile, but has the graphics for mobile. But yeah, it could definitely win gamers over. And then, do Flash games count? Sunny was amazing. And with the follow-up comment that reads, my God, he took me back at least 18 years. I never played this. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? I mean, maybe I was in front of my PS1 way too much than my PC 18 years ago. But yeah, Sunny, that's bringing a flashback. I'm sure this kind of reminds me of like addictinggames.com. Like there were so many great like free games on there. It was like, yeah, we don't need to spend no money on anything. There's plenty of games to choose from. But okay, this is unique. My entire Epic game catalog with a follow-up comment that reads, Control, Death Stranding, AC Odyssey, the modern Tomb Raider trilogy, probably a few others I've forgotten. Never going to buy from them, though. So Epic is literally talking about how they have to fire 1,000 employees, or sorry, lay off. Oh, wow, you got all this amazing talent. I can't wait to let you guys all know about. But we have no problem collaborating with other studios to utilize our own storefront game launcher to give away free games.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what they're known for. That's why people even have it installed.
I'm not going to say no to a free game, but it's just, again, you look back on the leadership and you just go, oh, jeez. And then you also get comments that read, Open TDD, with a follow-up comment that reads, there's one for Roller Coaster Tycoon as well. I never do this. But this doesn't surprise me that it's available on a web format. And I think you can download it like as a software. I could be completely wrong. I even saw on Steam you can type in TDD and it's a purchasable thing. So maybe some people that feel skeptical about trying out OpenTDD.com, I can't remember what the web address was again, maybe pay the 99 cents on Steam, okay? If you're that freaking out about it. And then last, here to rep Moonring, absurdly good for the low price of free on Steam. It looks like an acid trip waiting to happen. Don't take any DMT or shrooms playing this game. Holy cow. But HenricK, what game hooked you for hours before you even noticed that there was a store tab?
I'm going to go really, really back in the past for this one, actually. To the point that it even doesn't have a store tab. And it's going to be the original Doom.
Actually, that
the
would
original Doom.
Okay,
and the reason why I say that is because even the developers at id Software were like, go ahead and share it, guys. We want you to just play the game. Go ahead and share it.
Get more eyeballs on it. What about RuneScape? Back in the day, it seems like it's trying to make a comeback, but I remember when we were all growing up, like nobody was even daring to even think about paying any kind of money for the game. It was just like, worry about finding a way to get your ass to log on at the same time, and let's go run the world.
It's interesting you say that, though, because like, at least with the knowledge I have of RuneScape, which granted is somewhat limited maybe,
yeah,
you kind of have to be paying that membership money, otherwise you're locked out of the majority of the game.
You definitely were, and I think there was a moment in time where it was like you get really invested for like, I don't know, a good year or two, and then clearly you move on to something else because of, like you said, there is the paywall, whether RuneScape people want to admit it or not, right? And so there's definitely that involved. Now that you get spaces like Arc Raiders that are charging $40 for their game, you could make an argument around Fortnite, for example. Like, why in the world with a game like that they ever thought that it was okay to drop it for free? Now they're probably wishing 10 years ago that they just charged $15. And maybe that would help a lot of the trolls, the cheaters, the hacks, and the people that ruin the overall experience in the gameplay would dwindle and disappear and
it's true.
leave into the
that
abyss.
money is a barrier to entry for people who decide to ruin the game for others.
Yeah. And also like Warzone too, like just to have that like separated as its own game mode. I mean, yeah, you could have packaged it into a game, and was that a smart move? I don't know. But then again, it's like, tell us gamers, which free-to-play video game made you cave and spend money and you weren't even mad about it? Or was there just a game that you just loved to play and I never spent any money? Let us know what's good. But man, this has been an amazing run of season 11, and we can't thank you, the listening audience and gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to do one last highlight: like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show, because we're going to be off for a week or two. And so if you want to be notified when we're coming back, you gotta follow along.
Yes, and you see this QR code, so same thing. Go ahead and scan it, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned, because there's always going to be more on the way.
That's right. And for now, you, the gamers, have an amazing spring break. Be safe. Don't do something stupid, because we are going to need you back in the lobby. For now, I'm Chris Collins. This is your boy HenricK, and we're going to say hasta la vista, baby. Peace.
See ya.